Good evening and welcome to the Seeking Justice Show on Blog Talk Radio. My name is Denny Griffin, and for the next 90 minutes, I'll be co-hosting the show with my partner, Kim Colton. Kim, good evening.
Thank you, Denny. How are you tonight?
Well, I can't complain too much, and yourself?
Oh, pretty darn good. Well, tonight we are going to be seeking justice for Joan Webster. She is the 24-year-old Harvard University student who disappeared from Boston's Logan Airport on Saturday, November 28, 1981, after returning from a Thanksgiving visit to her parents in New Jersey. On April 18, 1990, Joan's remains were found in Hamilton, Massachusetts, 20 miles north of Boston. She was found under a pile of leaves and logs just 150 feet from a spot psychics led police to in 1982. The skull was broken, indicating she was probably killed by a blow to the head with a blunt instrument. A time and place of death could not be determined. Joining us to discuss this disturbing case will be Joan's sister-in-law, Eve Carson. Welcome, Eve, to the show.
Thank you, Kim and Denny, both. This is an extremely important case, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to really talk about it and make people aware of what all went on.
So, Eve, could you take us back, please, to 1981 and tell us the story of your sister-in-law, Joan Webster, and the circumstances surrounding her murder?
Okay. Joan was a graduate student at Harvard. It was her second year in the School of Architectural Design. She was actually 25, and she had gone home for Thanksgiving break. She had worked extremely hard to get a project done, an 11-week project, which she presented the Monday before Thanksgiving. The reason she did press so hard was because she had been unable to go home the year before due to the workload, and she really wanted to take the time to enjoy her holiday, her family, her friends. And she went back early, which was really kind of surprising. She went back to school on Saturday night versus Sunday, or even riding with her sister, who lived in the Boston area as well. And so she flew back into Logan Airport on Saturday night, November 28, 1981. She was seen. She was confirmed to have been on that flight, and she was seen picking up her luggage at the luggage carousel. But basically after that, reports pretty much said that she vanished. She just plain disappeared.
Now, did she had talked to some fellow students once she got to Logan, correct?
She had spoken to a few people on the flight, and she had acknowledged a friend of hers at the luggage carousel. He was there with his girlfriend, and she waved to him and said she was taking a cab back to the dorm. That was her intent, and that was typically what she would have done.
Okay. All righty, and let's see. She was seen talking to someone, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's a report that came out in January that she actually had seen someone. And there was another article that I had never seen until I started digging into this case. There was a newspaper report in the Newark papers, Newark, New Jersey papers as well, that Joan actually had been seen, and so much so that a description was provided and a composite was drawn of it. Strangely, I never knew about a composite at that time, but none was ever broadcast. None was ever published in the paper. None was ever put out on the airwaves in any way whatsoever. I know personally I'd be screaming to have that out there. Who is this person? And there was one brief mention of it in one news article, and then the other article that I found out of the New Jersey papers, and we have been able to confirm that. That indeed was the case. There is a composite. It's not something that I have released, and there are reasons why I don't, partly because this case got off on so many different tangents. It got so very confusing, and I don't want that to happen again.
Right.
I believe we're looking in the right area now.
Did you ever see the composite sketch?
I didn't at the time, and I didn't until this last year through the digging and whatnot, I now have a copy of the composite. I have it.
Who do you think it? Well, let's get into this a little bit more, and we have a whole cast of characters here to talk about, and then I do want you to give your opinion as who you think it looks like, if it looks like any of them.
Okay.
Okay. So Joan, she didn't show up for classes on Monday, November 30th.
That is correct.
And her parents had not heard from her, and take it from there. She was reported missing to security at the university, correct?
She was reported missing actually in two different places. There are two initial reports. One was to the Harvard campus police, and the other one was done in New Jersey. We did not know for 3 days that Joan was missing. There had been no safe arrival call, and we didn't know. We had no idea. So, her whereabouts were not registering with anybody until she did not show up for classes. And that is what's indicated in both of those initial reports. That's when people became alarmed.
Mm-hmm.
Those two initial reports, they described what she was wearing when she was last seen. Her family, both parents and her sister, took her to the airport that evening. And her flight arrived, around 10 o'clock on that Saturday night. Took about a half an hour to collect the luggage because there was all of the carousels were down except one, and there were about 5 flights that came in all roughly around the same time. So there was quite a crowd there. I mean, this was a busy airport on Saturday night following Thanksgiving. Interesting that not that many people noticed her, but obviously some did, and that is something that is something that I have focused on quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
because it did apparently become something and evidence that became suppressed.
Okay.